Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. Julian here for another important episode to get ready for your fantasy drafts for the upcoming NHL season. It's coming up sooner than you think. Training camps have now opened, and it's very, very exciting to see players on ice again and being able to see what line combinations teams are starting to come up with. They have just opened, so not too much has come out just yet, but I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on Twitter/X, so definitely make sure to follow me there. And if you haven't already, guys, join the Fantasy Discord as well. We got a great community over there. We're sharing a whole bunch of things, and we're just keeping each other up to date with everything we can fantasy hockey related. The link to both the Twitter and the Discord is down below in the comment. And speaking of the Discord, guys, we will be doing Rate My Team videos really soon, so definitely go into the Discord, join the Discord, and post your drafted teams if you've already drafted in the Discord, and I'll be sure to make a video covering your team and letting you know exactly what I think of your team and how you did. And if you do want to take your support of this channel to the next level, guys, do be sure to hit that join button on YouTube or join my Patreon. The link is also down below in the comments, and you get access to my full draft rankings, to early access videos, and you get to DM with me whenever you want to ask me fantasy hockey related questions. So definitely a great time to join my Patreon. Let's jump into the content today, guys. And today we're going to be talking about 12 players that you should be drafting in your fantasy leagues. I have 6 forwards, 4 defensemen, and 2 goaltenders that I'm going to be talking about. Let's start with some forwards, and the first forward I have on the list is Seth Jarvis. And I love Seth Jarvis this year, and I have received a lot of hate lately for ranking him so highly in some of my rankings videos. And while I wouldn't quite draft him as high as I ranked him, that is his ceiling this year. Last year, Jarvis scored 32 goals and 67 points in just 73 games. Close to a point per game. Additionally, he shot the puck 2.8 times per game and hit 1.3 times per game to give you a nice safe floor every night on top of all the points that he's scoring. Now you have to remember, the kid is only 23 years old and still has room to get even better. Couple that with the fact that Rod Brind'Amour seems to absolutely love the guy, and he gives him fantastic deployment, meaning line 1 and power play 1. At his ADP of 81, it's an absolute no-brainer, especially since he's got center, left wing, and right wing eligibility for maximum flexibility in your lineup. The next guy I have is Pavel Dorofeyev of the Vegas Golden Knights. And he's going at an ADP of 121. And I like Dorofeyev this year, under one condition: that Vegas continues to give him power play 1 time. With the arrival of Mitch Marner in Vegas, there are 6 players fighting for 5 spots on power play 1. Those players are Eichel, Marner, Hurdle, Stone, Theodore, who's a lock since he's a defenseman, and Dorofeyev. We should see the line soon, and if Dorofeyev remains on power play 1, then I remain high on him. If not, I'd probably fade him. Last year, the kid broke out scoring 35 goals and 52 points. And 13 of those goals were on the power play, which is why I'm saying the power play is so important for him. He also shot the puck 3.1 times per game, which is absolutely awesome and really good for a bit of a floor. And if goals are valued higher in your league than assists, which is the case in almost every league other than pure points leagues, he's definitely a good fantasy asset, and his ADP is pretty good. The next guy that I'm drafting everywhere I can is Dylan Guenther of the Utah Mammoth. He's an unbelievably skilled player playing on the top line with Keller and Cooley, and should get plenty of power play 1 time as well with Clayton Keller. Yeah, this should be a no-brainer draft, especially at his ADP of 126. That doesn't even make sense that he's going so late. He was so good last year, and he's going to be probably a top 50 fantasy player once again this year. Next is Joel Eriksson Ek, and this guy legitimately has top 50 upside in leagues that value peripherals because he shoots a lot and he hits a lot and provides a very, very safe floor. He did have a down year last year offensively, but Kaprizov was injured literally half the season. He missed 41 games, and Kaprizov is now back and healthy, and he'll likely center Kaprizov's line and power play one. In his previous 2 seasons, he scored 64 and 61 points in 77 and 78 games respectively. Look for him to get back to that with some solid peripherals. Next is Mika Zibanejad going at an ADP of 138.3, which is pretty late. Zibanejad had a miserable season last year for his standards, but the entire Rangers team kinda did. He still scored 62 points, which would be amazing for most players. But in his previous seasons, he scored 72, 91, and 81 points respectively. And his lowest plus minus out of all those years was a plus 15, whereas this past season, he was a minus 22. If he and the Rangers can bounce back this season, I could easily see him finishing with 25 goals and 70 plus points and a much better plus minus than last year. He's definitely a top 50 potential player at his ceiling, and you guys are used to Mika Zibanejad being a centerman. Guess what? He's got right wing eligibility this year. So he's not somebody that you have to avoid because of that position, that he's only a center. Because he has right wing, he has a lot more flexibility now and probably can fit into your lineup. And my final forward is Will Smith of the San Jose Sharks. He started slow last year in his rookie season, and he wasn't power play one for most of the year. He only averaged 15 minutes of ice time. But at the end of the season, he scored 31 points in his last 37 games after being elevated to the top power play. I think he'll get much better minutes this year, and he can certainly finish with 60 plus points. I think this kid's going to be an absolute stud in the NHL for many years to come. My first defenseman is Moritz Seider going at an ADP of 58.5. And last year, they fully committed him to the power play one in Detroit, and he scored 4 power play goals and 20 power play assists. He should be a staple on that top unit for many years to come. On top of this, he had excellent peripherals, which just make him so safe. He had 181 hits, which was 23rd in the league, 212 blocks, which was 7th in the league, and 162 shots, which is just about 2 per game, which is excellent as well. He's the 12th defenseman off the board right now in drafts. However, I have him as my number 6 best defenseman. He's a great value pick, especially in leagues where peripherals are important. I probably wouldn't draft him this early if you're in a pure points league, but in pretty much every other type of league, he's great value. Next is Thomas Chabot, and he had solid peripheral stats and still managed to score 45 points last year, despite getting 0 power play one time. Ottawa is a much better team than they used to be, and Chabot is a really important piece of that team. He averages over 23 minutes a night, and last year he put up over 2.2 shots per game, 1.8 blocks per game, 0.8 hits per game, which isn't too much, but still significant, and he was a plus 17 on the year. The shots is the big one though. If he could keep that up, there's no reason he shouldn't be able to have a similar year with 40 plus points and decent peripherals. At 156th overall, yes, please, that's great value. Next is Alexander Romanov, and he had excellent peripheral stats last year. Over 1.5 shots per game, 2.6 blocks per game, 2.3 hits per game, and he's going at an ADP of 171.0. Now I get it, if your league doesn't give you much value for peripherals, you're probably going to stay away from Romanov, but a lot of leagues these days reward you for hits, for blocks, for shots. So if you have these things, he's actually going to be a really safe floor night in and night out, and he'll still score you about a point every 3 games or so, which isn't horrible either. I like Romanov a lot, and in leagues that really value peripherals, he could even be a top 30 to 35 defenseman at the end of the year. And finally, this is something that nobody seems to be talking about. With Pietrangelo expected to miss the whole year, Hanifin may be expected to step up a little bit more in Vegas. Last year, he averaged 21 minutes and 33 seconds of ice time, whereas in years prior, he was used to over 23. So probably he might go back to 23 minutes a night. He's not an overly exciting option by any means, but he should safely get at least 35 to 40 points with okay shots, blocks, peripherals. Why do I like him? Well, for one thing, Shea Theodore is super injury prone. Over his last 3 seasons, he played 67, 47, and 55 games respectively. And with no more Pietrangelo, if Theodore gets injured, it'll 100% for sure be Hanifin being moved up to the power play 1. Have you guys ever played fantasy football? Well, when you draft a stud running back, oftentimes you handcuff him with another running back from the same team. Just in case that running back gets injured, you have the guy to replace him rather than having to fight with other players on the waiver wire to see who gets him first. This is what I kind of recommend if you are deciding to draft Shea Theodore this year. No one is rushing to draft Hanifin after his mid-season last year. So if you draft Shea Theodore, grab Hanifin with one of your last picks of the draft. He'll be good enough, and you'll thank your lucky stars that you do have him if Theodore does get injured as usual. My first goalie is Stuart Skinner of the Edmonton Oilers, going as late as ADP 139.8. Opening day of training camp, you could tell that this dude trained super hard. He came into camp 25 pounds lighter than last year. That could fix a lot of his lateral movement issues. He knows that he was underwhelming last year, and he wants to be better. He wants to win that Stanley Cup. He wants to be the best goalie that he can possibly be, and he really showed it with his training this summer. He remains, right now, the #1 goalie on Edmonton, and Edmonton is a very good team. This late should be a no-brainer draft pick. Then Karel Vejmelka going at ADP of 140.1, so just about the same range as Stuart Skinner. Vejmelka is someone who I was high on at the beginning of the offseason, then I went a little bit lower on, and now I'm back to being quite high on him. The reason for that is that Ingram was on the player assistance program, and I thought maybe he'd remain there for a good while, so I was high on Vejmelka. Then they said Ingram has been removed from the player assistance program, and in my mind, Ingram is actually a pretty good goalie and could steal starts away from Vejmelka. But now they announced that Ingram will not be showing up to training camp in Utah. He's going to be waived or traded, whatever it is. He will not be a factor in Utah. So Vejmelka really is the starting goalie there with Vanacek as the backup. The only thing that could really hurt Vejmelka's value now is if Utah signs Carter Hart. They are a team that's circulating in rumors right now, but a Utah reporter did say that they don't have interest, so we should be good here with Vejmelka. And honestly, guys, as late as he's going, he has top 20 goalie upside for sure, and Utah might be a sneaky good team this year and a fringe playoff team. Look for Vejmelka to get 55 starts this year and a lot of wins. And that's it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed the content today, drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And be sure to join the Fantasy Tipped Discord for all the latest news. That's it for this video, guys, and I'll catch you all in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.